3, 2. Welcome to Alchemical Sattva. My name is Lee Howden. I am not a trained professional. I am a voice actor who is taking the time to cultivate and share a moment of peace and stillness. Please do not use this while operating a vehicle or other heavy machinery. With that out of the way, so today's video is going to be a little bit different than what I would normally have in mind for this channel, such as like an appreciation, focused meditation, or mindfulness of breathing meditation. Today we're going to be focusing on the posture of meditation. And most of the information I'm working with today, all of the information I'm working with today is from this really good book called The Posture of Meditation by Will Johnson. And if you ever get the chance, I would definitely recommend reading it for yourself. And within this book, the author talks about the 3 main principles of what the posture of meditation is. And those 3 principles are alignment, resilience, and relaxation. The actual alignment of your spine, how well you're able to relax into it, and just how much you're able to not resist, because resistance is not what you're going for, but how resilient you are in the face of this contradiction. Because, you're sitting up in this upright position. If you were to totally relax, you would just completely fall over. Everything would just come apart like that. So you can't just completely let go in that sense. But you do want to be able to let go as much as you're able to. And in order to get the most out of our meditations, the posture is paramount, absolute paramount. So the first principle, alignment, focuses on the spine and the structure of that in and of itself. You'll see me sitting like this in full lotus position, specifically because it helps me align my spine in a more proper position. And I'm not wearing the right outfit right now to demonstrate this better, but if I were to turn as such, you would be able to see that my knees are level with my pelvis. And this is what we want, because if I were to sit in applesauce position, or crisscross applesauce, whatever the fuck it's called, whatever. If I were to sit in applesauce position, my knees are now above my pelvis, which causes my hips to stack kind of like this is my spine on top of my hips. And it just kind of forces everything to roll under. And that takes away from the meditation. Because if you're slouched and something's pinching or something's uncomfortable in some way, shape, or form, you're not going to be able to focus on what it is you're trying to focus on in the meditation, whether it's the body or the breathing or a specific quality in life that you're trying to foster more of. When you're slouched and your posture is not supporting your ambitions, you're just not going to get the most out of it, because you're focusing on that pain instead of letting it go. So sitting full lotus helps me keep my knees below my hip, knees level with my pelvis, so that way I'm sitting more so like this instead of you know what I mean? There is a specific exercise in mind where that is supposed to help align your spine with that's supposed to help align your spine. The way this exercise works is you're going to visualize a string pulling you up from your head, just kind of like you're a puppet in a sense, just, and you're going to want to rest with that within that alignment of that invisible string that's just pulling you up. Oh, but Lee, where the fuck is the string? Good questions. So that invisible line, that center for everyone is different for everyone. Me, I'm skin and bones. Like, my center is going to be very different from someone who's has actual meat on their bones. So this exercise will help you find where yours is at. And to start it off, you're going to get that visualization in mind, and then you're going to lean as far forward as you can without, collapsing. You're going to lean as far forward as you can, and then lean back until you start falling over and losing balance. And you're going to keep moving back and forth. As such, until you find a spot where you can just rest in that alignment without feeling like you're going to topple forward or topple backwards. You're just going to keep rocking, making the movements smaller and smaller as you go through this. And the point of this is really just to refine the alignment. It's not to get it perfect, because that doesn't exist, but it's just to refine it. My body will change in 30 years' time, and the alignment within it's going to change in 30 years' time. So this is a good exercise to find where you are, where your alignment is. Oh, and for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll notice that I'm still doing this rocking motion in full lotus. I know full lotus is not as easily accessible to some people as it is for me. But even going half lotus helps bring your knees to be more level with your hips. So go with where you can and what's comfortable for you. That's what's most important. What is comfortable for you? If you've just had knee surgery, going full lotus, I probably would not recommend. Maybe even half lotus, I wouldn't even recommend that. But either way, what is most comfortable for you is what's going to bring out the most in these meditations. And then once you feel as though you found where your forward and back center is, try doing the same thing, just rocking as far over to the right as you can before you start toppling. And then as far over to the left as you can. I have a wall right here, so I can't go too far over to the left, but you get the idea. Just keep going left and right. Gradually making the movements smaller and less dramatic. Oh shoot, have I been recording this the whole time with the door open? Ugh, I can only imagine the rhythm it's going on in the background that you guys can hear. I'm sorry, let me go close that door for you. Ugh. Fuck. Oh. All right. Sorry about that. I'm not re-recording all that, so you're getting me, flaws and all. And then just return back to going back into the exercise, and then keep going back and forth until you find that center. And then the last portion of this exercise, after going forward and back and left and right to find where your center is in that aspect, you're going to lean as far forward as you can and then just make a large kind of like circular movement all the way around. And you just bring it around town. Someone was going to say it. Might as well be me. And just keep bringing it around town, man. Keep making the movements smaller and smaller. And you're just going to keep making those movements smaller and smaller. And you're honing in on that invisible thread that you pulled up on it earlier. You're trying to hone in on that until you are in line with it. And that's how you find your alignment. The next principle focuses on, relaxation. For this exercise, I'm actually going to go lay down. So, all right. So, this exercise is going to function a little bit differently. I usually sleep like this, like a fucking corpse. Don't mind me. But, this exercise is going to function a little bit differently. So for this exercise, we're going to be focusing on relaxation. And this exercise does that by focusing on what relaxation isn't, if we're tracking what I'm saying so far. So throughout this exercise, we're just going to go do a body scan of our whole body. And starting at our feet, we're just going to flex our feet, create as much tension and flexing them as much as we can. Arc them up and back. Just make them really tense. Hold that for like 10, 15 seconds. And then just relax. And then moving up the body at our calves, flex our calves. Do that by like rotating our feet, pointing our toes, finding where, feeling in our body what that tension feels like, so that way when we're in our meditative position, we know where that tension is. And with relaxation, we can let go of that tension, whether that's something inherent to our body or something we are deliberately creating, like it with this exercise. Moving on up, I'm just going to keep going up into our thighs and hips. Flex those, create as much tension in them as we can. Hold that for 10, 15 seconds. Really explore what that tension feels like. And then relax. And don't do anything, just relax. And study how that relaxation feels in the body. One thing I've encountered a lot of was pain in meditations. People would come to me and be like, oh, I was in this much pain, and some of the most memorable of those experiences were when those individuals let go of that pain and they were just free from it. I would imagine that this relaxation after that tension is the tip of the iceberg of how impactful that feeling is. And then gradually moving up into our the fuck is this called? Abdomen. Just sort of flex that. Hold it for 10, 15 seconds. Like, you'll notice that when you're holding tension in your abdomen, in your torso, it's not as easy to breathe. Which, well, is important. And then carrying that awareness into our hands and arms. We're just going to squeeze these as tightly as we can, flexing our arms or forearms, and just creating as much tension as we can. And then relax. God damn it, I left the door open again. Anyways, that's the gist of the exercise. Last part you're going to want to focus on is your face. Scrunch that up. Make as much tension as you can. And then relax. That's the foundation of the exercise. It's just a body scan. And then relaxing afterwards, after you've scanned that part of the body and created tension in it. That's that. And for the third and final principle of meditation, we're going to be focusing on the principle of what was it? We did relaxation, alignment, and resilience. So earlier, I did like if you just fully relaxed your body and I just crumpled over, that introduces a paradox into the posture of meditation. Because on one end, you want to stay relaxed, but you can't fully relax in a seated position. I mean, you can, but it's definitely not as easy. You know, if I were to fully relax like this, I would just slump over. And you're not trying to resist you're not trying to resist that falling over. You're just trying to learn how to bend with it. You bend forward a little bit, okay, we can bend back now. So for this exercise, we're going to slump ourselves forward as if we're completely relaxed and just letting ourselves just slump forward. And for this, we're just going to slowly lean back. I have headphones on, so I can't look down all the way. There we go. And just gradually straighten out the spine. We get up to our shoulder blades, where the curvature of our spine is up in our shoulder blades. We're going to push those shoulder blades in and our spine forward, our chest out, and continue that motion on up with our neck and hold it there. Because you want to be able to be resilient enough to bend back into place when you bend out of place. Because the fact of the matter is that you're in a constant state of change. Every breath you take physically moves every inch of your body. If you pay attention closely enough, on the inhale of your breath, you can feel where the plates of your skull, you can feel them separate just a little bit. And when you exhale, you can feel them come back together. If you're observant enough, you could even feel your breath all the way down into your toes and how subtle that movement is. So we are constantly moving. We want to be able to be resilient enough to bounce back into proper alignment whenever we do fall out of it. And that's why resilience is so important. It's our bounce back. And you can just lean over to the left a little bit for the exercise, or I'm leaning over to the right. Lean over to the right and then just kind of straighten that out. Feel what it feels like to deliberately bring your body back into alignment after it falls out. Because when you're in a deep meditative space, you're going to forget about your body. You're just going to and just clock out after a while. And then you're going to clock back in and be like, oh, shoot, hold on. Let me get... Okay. And then you're going to clock out again. And it's a beautiful cycle. And you're going to want to keep clocking out and clocking back in. And resilience is what's going to help us get the most out of our meditative process. And that's it for today. You got the 3 exercises for the day. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this channel. For those of you who saw my first video, saw me do the intro to it for Mindfulness Studios. The original name of this channel was Mindfulness Studios, but after getting out there, and I already seemed like there was like 8 or 9 different mindfulness studios, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this isn't gonna fly. I'm too unique for this shit. My ego doesn't like it. So I changed the name to Alchemical Sattva. That is the name of this channel. It's now Alchemical Sattva. And train of thought. But yeah, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say, so thank you for joining me on this, for this video, or if you're listening to it as a podcast, to this recording. And as always, stay blessed.